Okay, we're back, my little experts on collisions. I'm willing to bet these are starting to get a lot faster if they weren't pretty zippy already. All right, so let's take a look at today's challenge. We've got two campers docking a canoe. A good thing would be to figure out again what kind of a collision we are talking about. Okay, so this one's maybe a little tricky at first, but let's start with what we're being told. Okay, docks a canoe. That to me implies that the canoe is sitting at the dock, right, at rest, with no velocity, with the campers on the inside of it, right? So then the one camper steps out of it and he moves in one direction, and the canoe and the camper move in the opposite direction. Oh my goodness, everybody, I do believe we have an explosion. It's not very dramatic, though. I mean, unless the canoe tips over and the other guy gets wet, but I mean, who knows, right? Could happen. Could happen. Probably if I was driving the canoe, that is exactly what would happen. Okay, so let's consider, right? We've got camper number one. We've got camper two plus the canoe, right? And we've got our total. Before the camper gets out of the canoe and after the camper gets out of the canoe. So as we've said before, the two campers are in the boat to start with, and they're not moving. So that means no momentum, no momentum, no momentum. It means this is no momentum as well. All right, so the camper that gets out, he's moving. This is in the after spot right here. So we've got 80 kilograms here. This is going to move forward at 4 meters per second. Put that in there. And so we're going to end up with 320 that doesn't look like kilograms. You know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so there is my 320 kilograms meters per second. Now perhaps you said, well then this one must be negative 320 kilograms meters per second. You would be absolutely right. So you'd have to say, okay, well, the other two pieces are 110 kilograms. So 110 kilograms times whatever velocity they are moving. So it's kind of up to you. You can do this one of two ways. At this point, you could go with our standard, this plus this equals this, and you could say 320 plus 110 V equals 0 and do the math. Or what you could do is simply the next step, right? You could just work with this piece right here, which would happen if I move this one over, equals 110 V. And you'd end up really with the same correct answer, so no worries, right? So we do that math, we're going to get negative 2.91 meters per second. Okay, again, if you are a fan of straight algebra and this is not your jam, then let's do this with some straight algebra, shall we? It's still an explosion and it's still at rest at the beginning. So it's critical that you start with 0. Not just with setting a mass and a velocity equal to each other like I see every year. Usually, no offense, gentlemen, but it's usually you guys because you're trying to make a shortcut. So put the whole thing down. All right, so 0 is my initial momentum. Then I'm going to have the momentum of the first camper with the final velocity of the first camper plus this is the second camper in the canoe and the final velocity of that. All right, so first camper, 80 kilograms, right? 80 kilograms and moving at 4 meters per second plus 110 VF. I think you get where we're going here. Looks exactly the same as what we were doing before. All right, you go ahead and move the 320 over, but really critical is having that 0 because again, it helps with the sign. It helps to show me the velocity, not just the speed. So be smart. And don't leave it out. Set the whole thing up from the very, very beginning. Don't be lazy. All right, guys? We'll try another one again tomorrow.